Hey guys, welcome back to another thrilling episode of Need More Coffee Please with Cisco and Melissa. I'm Cisco.
I'm Melissa.
And before we get too far, we would kindly ask you to please hit the like and subscribe buttons on YouTube. Also, that little bell notification button, just that will let you know when new episodes will be coming out. And speaking of, starting next week, we will be changing from releasing our episodes on Mondays to releasing them on Sundays. And also, we will be coming out with what we feel like are shorter episodes coming out on Wednesdays as well. So we'll be doing twice a week. But we really feel like the Lord wants us to expand a little bit. There's always stuff to talk about when we really want to be able to share more what's going on in our lives, and just how to help you as the audience as well. So hit that bell notification so you know when new ones are coming out. We would appreciate it.
Yep. So today we are going to talk about feeling. Have you ever felt stuck? We have definitely been in that position many times. And the three things that we use to get out of that rut, so to speak. So, yeah. So today we're going to talk about the 3 steps for getting unstuck. Especially if you are walking, actively in your purpose or your calling, and it's not 100% clear, where you're going right off the bat. This is, something you're going to encounter probably many times as you're walking in that. So, if you are feeling this way, then first thing that I would do, or that I do, that we do.
You said do.
Anyway, would be to identify why you're feeling stuck. Are you just unclear in the direction, or is there like an aspect of fear, whether that be in change, fear of change or failure? So yeah, I would say the first thing would be to identify either if it's one of those 2 things or even something completely different, and why you are feeling like you can't move forward. So
yeah, for sure. And it may be that the Lord is calling you to do something that's a little bit different, that's a little bit unorthodox, similar to what we're doing with this YouTube thing. And it could be scary, as we talked about before. People can kind of poo-poo it a little bit. You can even do it in your own mind without even hearing from anybody else, and that could be paralyzing. It could be scary, and it could really get you kind of stuck in that rut, and you can't get out, and you kind of know the direction the Lord wants you to go, but your fear is preventing you from moving forward. And so again, it's helpful to identify that, fear if that's what's going on. So then that way you and the Lord can just take care of it, and He can cast out that fear, and you can move forward confidently and just knowing that He is working and that He wants to work. The second thing.
Wait, before we go on the second one, I was going to read something that I saw the other day on Instagram. It was really good. And kind of goes along with that, if I can find it. Okay, so to go along with the whole fear of change or failure, I feel like this is something that I definitely have done to myself many, many times in the past. But so this was something I saw on Instagram, and I screenshotted it. And it said, the spirit of offense will give you the ability to hear things that were not said. And if you don't deal with it, it can rob your life before you know it. And, so I think that was honestly something I was dealing with even a couple weeks ago. And when I read that, I kind of had, I didn't really identify that whole spirit of offense, but I was like, man, that is crazy, because how often do we, have something in our head of like, oh, this is what people are thinking, or this is, what people are saying about me or whatever. And it really it can literally rob your life. Like, it can keep you in that place of feeling stuck and the inability to move forward, whether it's, whether you have all the confidence in the world that this is the Lord or not. And I don't know, it's like when you see that that's like something that Satan is specifically doing to keep you stuck. Like, I don't know, to me, I'm like, heck no.
Yeah, it's like he's snatching the seed out of the ground before it's even able to grow.
Yeah.
It's not even able to do anything, sprout roots or anything, but your fear just prevents any of that from happening, and it doesn't even happen in the first place. You don't even,
like no one may be even thinking or
Right,
saying anything
exactly.
that you're, thinking they are in your mind. And it's just crazy that we do that.
You don't even get to find out.
Yeah.
Because you stop it before it even starts.
Right.
So we would encourage you to be brave and courageous and just really seek the Lord in it, and that's the second step is to really seek, pray, read the word, and seek the Lord on it, and really seek the Lord's direction on it, and sit and wait and expect an answer, because we think he's faithful to do that. He's faithful to give it, and sometimes it may take longer than other times, like, and we get impatient. We want the answer now. We want to know where to go, what to do while we're here, and sometimes it does take time. Thankfully, it's a season, and it's just that means it's temporary. That means it will end. There is an end date where we don't know what that is all the time, or any of the time. Really, we definitely need to know. But it will end, and the Lord will bring you to a different place, and He will continue to use it. One verse that came to mind while we were talking about this episode was James 1:5. Says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him. So the Lord is faithful, faithful to give us that wisdom. He will give it to us generously, and He won't be upset. He's not going to be annoyed that you're asking Him for wisdom, but He wants to give it to us. He wants us to seek Him, and He wants to give us that answer in that direction, and He wants us to follow Him, and it'd be silly of us and not to, because He's right there. He's our most valuable resource and ally. And another thing too, along with praying and reading the word, is this seeking counsel, seeking out people, friends that church leaders that you trust, that will give you that wisdom. And it's important to know them, and to know that they are going to give you that wisdom. They're going to seek the Lord on it. They're going to give you the truth. No matter what, it can be, hurtful, or it could be something that might be difficult for them to say, but they are confident enough to tell you and not to lie to you, because some people just do. They just tell you what you want to hear, so that they can move on, so that there's no
conflict.
Conflict or uncomfortability between the two, or any wedge in their relationship at all. And so it's important to seek those people who are willing to do that for you, because at the end of the day, they're not doing you any favors by telling you what you want to hear and by lying to you. The biggest favor they can do is really tell you what the Lord is telling them, or
being honest with what
being
they
honest.
think.
Honesty is always the best policy, as they say. And so that goes for everything. So don't seek out yes men or people who say, oh heck yeah, go for it, or you do you, boo, because every time somebody says you do you, it's 9 times out of 10 they're doing something really dumb, and they're saying that to encourage them and to not ruffle any feathers. But sometimes their feathers need to get ruffled.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's good to have the friend that can say it lovingly.
Sure. Yeah. No. Absolutely. I'm not saying to be a jerk, at all. But just to speak the truth in love, and be encouraging, and like it says in Proverbs, faithful are the wounds of a friend. Sometimes friends can be wounding,
and I think just knowing who you have in your life that is supportive of you, like isn't trying to sabotage your success, or the path that the Lord had you on, like because I think a lot there are times when friends can unwittingly, I guess, like not intentionally be doing that, but it does happen. And so it's just good to know who your wise counsel is, and praying even about that, like who the Lord would have you seek counsel from, because he can show you that too. But yeah, and I think too, just that whole expectantly praying for when you do pray for him to speak to you, are you doing it in a way that, are you expecting him to answer, or are you just doing it to like mark it off your list, or to be like, okay, I should probably pray about this, but do you really believe that he's going to speak to you? And that can look like, differently, I think, for every person, or it's definitely very individual with how he does speak to us. I know for me, it's like I just have like a strong gut feeling. He also does speak to me in dreams, but yeah, like I can't even explain how I know when. I just know, like I will be praying and seeking him, and then it's like can happen in a matter, like in a couple minutes, all of a sudden I'm just like,
and when she knows, she knows.
Yeah, like I don't even like there's nothing that can like stop me at that point. And I know that is from him, because that's not how I am normally. Like I'm very indecisive. I'm very like, oh, I don't know, someone tell me, but it's like when it's from the Lord, like that's it. Like so I don't know. That's just how it is for me. Like, sure. I wish it was a thing where he audibly was like, do this, and this, but fortunately that's not how it is. But
yeah, for me so far, it's been a lot more just practical everyday things. There hasn't been, I haven't really experienced any dreams like Melissa has, or any real strong gut feelings. And maybe I have, but a lot of things have been just practical, and just things have occurred naturally I feel like, okay, this is, where the Lord wants us to go. And, um, so the Lord speaks to us in different ways. It doesn't speak to everybody in visions and dreams or through prophecy, or anything like that. So don't be discouraged if the people around you are, experiencing those things and really, hearing from the Lord, and you feel like, well, that hasn't happened to me, or I haven't experienced that, or heard anything audibly. It's not going to be an audible voice. It's not going to be writing in the sky, but he can speak through a lot of different ways. And so, um, don't be discouraged if your way is different from their way, or whatever, because he's faithful. He's faithful to speak no matter what, which
and
is,
his sheep know his voice, and the
mm,
longer you are walking with him, the more confident you are going to be in, like, oh, that's the Lord, or that's not the Lord, because it is very individual, and it's not, he doesn't speak to us in big fireworks and loud ways, but the longer you do walk with him, and the more that you seek to hear his voice, like, the more confident you are going to be that what is him and what is you or Satan or any, just not from him. So yeah. Does that wrap up? Okay. So the third would be to take a small step and break the cycle. I think especially once you've identified that it's fear or a lack of direction, and then you sought the Lord in either dealing with the fear or, what direction am I supposed to go? That last step is a little easier to take once you kind of have a, clear understanding of what's going on. And, don't, like, I think, not overwhelming yourself. I definitely do that with, once I get a little bit, I'm like, okay, like, I'm gonna, go all in, and that can be really overwhelming, and then kind of get you right back into that stuck place. So I think just taking one small step in that direction, and then kind of seeing, like, what happens after that. I think a really good what's the word, like, example. It's a really hard word. Of something that just recently happened with us in this whole context. We had a situation where we weren't really sure, like, are we supposed to be doing this? Is this what the Lord has? And we had an appointment coming up, and, I thought about canceling it many times, and, because I just wasn't sure, and we weren't, we were like, things weren't happening. Huh?
You can say what it is.
Okay. Well, okay. So for our the mission trip that we are going on with our church, we can't say where.
Yeah, you
so
can
we're
say.
going to Latin America. If you want to know the details, you can message us. We just can't say it, like, publicly for political reasons. But anyway, so we've had this trip. It's coming up in August, and we had deadlines of when we were going to need, like, the funding, and we put out a few things on social media, and they're going to announce it at church, and it's just been kind of a slow process, and the funding hasn't been coming in, like, as we were hoping.
And fundraising it. First of all, this is our first time,
right? Like, we're us
on a trip together. And fundraising for ourselves is not, it's not our forte at all. Yeah.
And I don't know. And even, like, for a mission, even though it's like a mission trip, and it's not, like, we're going on some big family vacation, like, at all. It still is awkward. And I don't know, for us, it's a, could be pricing, whatever. It's just hard. not something we love doing. So anyway, we had an appointment to get our passports. And because all of this, hasn't been going as smoothly as we hoped, and it's like, we're totally like, okay, Lord, whatever you want to do. Like, if you want us to go, we know you are fully able to provide. If you don't want us to go, that's totally fine too. Like, we're kind of, we feel like he wants us to, but we're cool either way. So we had an appointment for our passports, and like I was saying, I was going to cancel it because I'm like, I just don't know. I don't think this is going to happen. And the day came, and I was like, all right, we're just going to do it because we probably should have our passports anyway. And, I don't want to get stuck where all of a sudden the money comes in and then we don't have them. So we went ahead and did it. It was a total, like, this whole thing from the beginning has been just interesting. Like, from our first meeting, we originally were going to go out there for the purpose of doing a marriage conference for the leaders out there, and kind of to support them in their marriages. And that was going to be the whole purpose of the trip, and what, the leaders out there wanted. And the couple who was, are the head of like the marriage ministry at our church, that were going to be leading that whole part of the trip. He had like a major medical emergency like literally the day after our first meeting, and they're not able to go now. He's doing okay, but it's a pretty like
he's got a long road
of recovery, and it's a serious situation, so pray for them. But that happened like immediately. And then there's just been like so many things that have happened with us, and I'm sure with others in the group, and to where I think any other time in my life I would have been like, this, like, that's it, we're not going. And even to say, not to say that I haven't felt that way with this, but I know I've been reading this book called He Came to Set the Captives Free by Rebecca Brown. And it's a really heavy book, but it's all on spiritual warfare. And it is wild, and it really opens your eyes to just all the ways that Satan is constantly trying to sabotage your life. And and I think I don't know, it's not like I haven't known about spiritual warfare my entire life, but I don't know that I've ever really had a full understanding like I do now of like how much, because I think like there was a time where we were, I don't know, maybe even in Bible college, and like after that, where it's like you kind of start questioning, okay, like, is this really spiritual warfare? Like, everyone chalks everything up to spiritual warfare. And it's like, no, really? Like, that is what it is. Like, there is so much going on that we do not see and that we don't even know. I mean, even like health issues and, I mean, just everything. And, it really is eye-opening once you kind of see, it's anyway. So we go to get our passports. That was a whole thing. She lost his license.
She was looking at that for like good 15, 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and when she
it's like a tiny little office. Yeah, like there's
only so many places it could go.
And it was just like, how in the world did you lose it? Like, and
thankfully we didn't panic. We weren't upset.
Like, we were just laughing.
I was just like, well, this is interesting that this happened, confident that it was gonna show up, but just kind of like, bemused that something like this would happen, with all the other situations around it, that this would, and
this wouldn't go smoothly.
Yeah, right. And I was just praying that she was too, like, well, Lord,
like you know where that is.
Yeah, and this is happening for a reason. You know why? And it feels like once again, Satan is really trying to get in the way and trying to prevent us from going. And it almost felt like even further confirmation that we should be going.
Yeah.
Like I really felt like the Lord, like Satan's getting in the way. He's trying to stop it. And it's like, wow, if he's really trying to stop this, then maybe we should be going.
Right. I know. But at the same time, it is like I was exhausted. This was even before the whole passport thing. Like exhausted because I knew how much was coming at us spiritually. And like I don't know, like you kind like when you know that that's what it is, it's almost like, oh, am I really up for this? Like I really would just like to not deal with this or know that this is what's happening, I don't know. Like that was a new thing I think that I really kind of connected and experienced really for the first time in my life, where I knew why I was exhausted. I knew why I was feeling so like just beat down, and it doesn't help really knowing that it's spiritual warfare. I mean, it does in a sense, but then on the other hand, you're kind of like, okay, like, is this really what I signed up for?
Yeah. This was going to happen every step of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything you try to do, is there going to be opposition where everything is going to be a fight?
Yeah.
Everything's going to be a battle. It can be.
But there's a reason. Like, there's a reason why we have to put on the full armor.
Right.
And,
yeah, for sure.
Because, it's kind of, it's not fun.
No.
So anyway, got the pass. She ended up finding it. It was literally like minutes after we started, like really kind of made the mental connection of what was going on and began praying. And then they found it. It had slid under
under her keyboard, like a super obvious place right in front of her.
But then also not like, how did that
how the heck did that even
get under there? Right. Yeah. I don't know. It was just really wild, and she was like, thank you for being so nice. She was kind of a cranky, and I anyway, there's like the guys, the people who were next, waiting for their appointment were like pounding on the door. It's just like, oh my gosh. Anyway,
it was interesting.
So we got the passports, and literally that night we got, within 24 hours, we got like multiple donations, which we had not gotten single cent.
1 cent prior to that.
And it was pretty out of the blue. Like we hadn't posted about it in like over a week. It wasn't like we had just done anything to bring,
we weren't out pleading, shaking the cup, asking for people to
no. So it was really kind of random, but at the same time I just kind of laughed because I was like, I think he was just waiting for us to make that first step, and then he was like, okay, like now we're on the same page, so I think a lot of times, like we have to make that just first step, and then you'll kind of get that confirmation of whether that's the way the direction the Lord is putting you in or leading you in, or you'll get that like, nope, this isn't it. So and it breaks that cycle of feeling stuck and unable to move forward when so
for sure. So just to recap, the 3 steps have getting out of the rut, getting unstuck. First is just identifying why you're there, how you got there, and why you have an unclear direction. There's a reason why you don't, and it's important to know why. No?
Just like I would just go through the 3.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Cut.
To wrap up.
Wrap it back. Go back on 30 seconds. Cut it. Okay, so the 3 steps, just to wrap up, how to get unstuck. One is identify why you don't have a clear direction. Is it a fear of change? Are you scared of failure? Number 2 is just pray and read the word and just really seek the Lord on it. Seek out that wise counsel from people who are older than you, either in age or in the faith, that really do seek and hear from the Lord. And then step 3, once you've done those, take that small step towards the direction you feel like the Lord is calling you to break that cycle. And like what Melissa was saying in our little passport story, sometimes taking that step can break that cycle and can really open your eyes to what the Lord wants you to do, and that the Lord does want you to go in one direction or the other. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just closes the door, and when he closes one door, he opens another, and he gives you another direction, and you might need to kind of start all over again. But the Lord is faithful to give you that direction and to speak to us and to really show us as a good father. He wants to point us and nudge us in the right direction, and he's gonna do that. So yeah,
That's all we got.
Yeah, that's all we got. We thank you so much for watching, and we just ask again that you would hit the like and the subscribe button, please. That would really help us out a ton. Also, there's that little notification bell to inform you when new episodes do come out. Like we said, starting next week, the episodes will be coming out on Sundays and on Wednesdays as well. So just keep your eye out for that. And thanks for watching.
Yep.
And love you. And we'll see you soon.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye.